Hey, Daily Dosers. This is Pastor Larry with Bonus Monday. I look back at something from last weekend's message we didn't really have time to dig into very deeply. So I want to take just a couple moments and talk about one of the principles we dealt with, and that is those areas where Scripture is not crystal clear, and we need to have the ability to agree to disagree. And we talked about a passage in Romans chapter 14 through chapter 15, verse 7, where people wrote to Paul and they want to know, is it okay to eat meat offered to idols? Unbelievably, these people are doing that. It's a demon idol. How in the world can they get away with that? And other people going, it's no big deal. They're like man-made pieces of wood and stone. Like, this is crazy. And then they did the same argument about keeping all the Old Testament Sabbaths or not. And I pointed out that Paul's answer to them was, you're both right. In other words, the Bible doesn't crystal clear say anything about eating meat that's once been offered to idols. It says a lot about worshiping an idol, but it's sold in the marketplace. Who cares kind of what conveyor line it went through? Yet to other people, yeah, you're both right. Same with the Sabbath. But there's one verse we didn't have time to dig into I want to point out, because we all have a propensity to kind of lean one way or the other. Some of us, by our background, are much more, well, I don't have freedom with that or whatever. And again, we're not talking about the areas where we're redefining the black and white things of Scripture. We have no freedom there. Those are those closed-fisted things we talked about. But in the areas where God hasn't spoken, some of us have kind of we were born with a guilt gene. Some of us really weren't born with a guilt gene on our shoulder. And so we're more freedom or more, I don't want to take a chance with that, okay? Here's what the passage says. John says they have to accept each other. And in verse 3 of chapter 14, the one who eats everything feels more freedom. I know it's a demon temple, but it's a man-made idol. It's stupid. So they feel this freedom. The one who eats everything, what must they do? They must not treat with contempt the one who does not eat. But then he says, by the way, those of you who are a little more restrictive in that, and so you don't feel any freedom, might have some demon cooties in that thing. And how can it honor God? I'm just going to show my stand for him. So you don't eat everything. He says, well, you must not judge the one who does, for God has accepted them. Here's what I want you to catch. The more freedom you have, the more you're going to look naturally in the flesh with contempt on those who don't experience your freedom. And the less freedom you personally feel, the more likely you are to judge, not look down on, but judge, as it were, the morality of those who live in greater freedom. Paul says, you're both right about your opinion, and you're both wrong in your attitude. So here's what I want to leave you with today. When you look at people in the realm of the many areas we have freedom in Christ, who are more restricted in that, do you find yourself with a sense of superiority and contempt? I want to tell you, Paul says, that's wrong. No way. That's dead wrong. Or maybe you're just a little more tight in terms of your boundaries, again, where Scripture gives us freedom, but you just want to take that extra step to honor God. You want to build that extra fence just in case. Do you find yourselves looking at the people who have freedom and thinking, they don't love God like I do? Man, just a harsh sense of judgment. Guess what? You're free to make your decision, but you are not free to have that attitude. And the glory of God will come and be shown to the entire world when those of us that have freedom in one area don't look down on those who don't have the freedom, and those of us who don't have the freedom don't judge those who do. And we realize we're both right. Live that way, and you'll honor Jesus.